coming up on the April 10th edition of Sports Extra. The men's basketball team is still celebrating its 6th national title. One key reserve has revealed his pro aspirations.
We also get our first look at the 2017 Carolina football team and some of the new faces on the squad.
And we tell you about a rocking activity that some students use to de-stress. All that and so much more. Sports Extra starts
right now.
From the University of North Carolina School of Journalism and Mass Communication, covering the full range of Tar Heel athletics, this is Sports Extra.
1 week later, and it's still good to be champs. Welcome to Sports Extra. I'm Peyton Walker.
And I'm John Assetti. Yes, the men's basketball team is still the national champion, but one important part of the team will be testing the waters of the NBA. But before we move on to basketball, a protest is happening outside of the Title IX office on Franklin Street. Reporter Brett Thompson joins us live from there now. Brett, what's going on?
Well, John, the protesters arrived here around 3 o'clock across the street outside of CVS, which is where that office is located. They're actually inside right now reading a letter to Title IX officials. They're upstairs in that building. Now, this is all in response to the UNC Title IX office ruling that football player Alan Artis did not violate any university policies in a case that dates back to last year. The organizer of the event was Savannah Peters, who says that the group believes that the office failed to adhere to its own standards regarding that Artis case.
As we all know, a case just came out last week that had a really disheartening result with yet another perpetrator being excused of their actions, and specifically the university stated that the events that occurred were not in conflict with the university's policy, which we have read and blatantly disagree.
Now again, this is in reaction to a case that dates back to last September to be specific, when sophomore Delaney Robinson came public with her charges of sexual assault against Artis. She felt that the university did not handle the case appropriately and took it to the took it to the public. She's actually appealing this ruling right now. Meanwhile, Artis still faces misdemeanor charges regarding her allegations, and he's still off the football team indefinitely. If we have anything else, either whether it's the protest or the case itself, we'll be sure to get that to you. But for right now, let's send it back to the studio. John?
That was Brett Thompson live outside the Title IX office on Franklin Street. Thanks, Brett.
Back to basketball, freshman center Tony Bradley has announced that he will declare for the NBA Draft Combine, but will not sign with an agent. He's the first Tar Heel underclassman to announce his draft status. And joining us now is basketball analyst Caleb Waters to break down his chances at being the first one and done at UNC since Brandon Wright. Caleb, what are things looking like for the freshman?
Well, Peyton, the NCAA rules allow players to enter the draft, to work out for teams, and to receive feedback as long as they don't do one important thing, and that's sign with an agent. Now, I think this would be a pretty smart move for Tony Bradley, considering his potential NBA future. From the start of the season, Bradley proved to be a critical off-the-bench player, with fellow big men struggling in foul trouble throughout the season. Bradley was a reliable presence under the basket. The most recent UNC one and done, as we mentioned, was 10 years ago. That's Brandon Wright. Wright was able to get up and protect the rim and also reach over to defenders, much like what we saw from Bradley this season. Bradley finished the season playing 18 minutes in the national championship game, where he grabbed 7 boards for the Heels. Now, right now, ESPN's Chad Ford has Bradley going late in the first round with the 28th overall pick, and NBADraft.net has Bradley going in the second round with the 36th overall pick. And another player headed off to the next level is UNC wingman Justin Jackson. His breakout season ended with a slew of awards and a sure spot in the 2017 NBA Draft. But there's no consensus yet about how early he may go. ESPN's Chad Ford has Jackson picked as 21st. Draft Express has him going as high as 12th. And NBADraft.net has Jackson going as the 27th pick. And true to form, though, Roy Williams isn't wasting any time. After briefly celebrating last week's national title, he's already building for next year. After the 05 title, Carolina signed Ty Lawson. After 09, it was Harrison Barnes. And in 2017, Coach Williams hit the recruiting trail again, this time visiting 2 of his top 2 targets for 2018. Zion Williamson and Romeo Langford represent ESPN's number 2 and 3 recruits in the 2018 class, respectively. And Heels fans hope this most recent title will give Carolina an edge in getting its first top 5 recruit since Harrison Barnes. Now, the NBA draft discussion isn't complete without mentioning the UNC seniors, and there's still speculation about the draft status of Isaiah Hicks. NBADraft.net projects the Oxford, North Carolina native could go late in the second round, but other projections don't mention him at all. And Kennedy Meeks is also projected to go undrafted.
Basketball analyst Caleb Waters with a look ahead. Thanks, Caleb.
With that national championship win, the Heels brought some more hardware to add to their collection. Basketball analyst Paul Beams wants to hand out a few more trophies and reflect on the 27 season in something he likes to call the Beamy Awards.
Welcome to the 2017 Beamy Awards. I'm your host, Paul Beam, and let's get right to the good stuff. Our first category, Most Improved Player, and this for me has been decided since the beginning of the season. The Beamy Award winner is Kenny Williams. Williams barely saw the floor last season, but ended up starting every game this season before having it cut short due to injury. The sophomore averaged more than 6 points per game, and he hit 26 more three-pointers this year than he did all of last year. Williams' most important contribution was on the defensive end as he became a defensive stopper. Coach Roy Williams often called Kenny Carolina's best perimeter defender. Our next category is an award that is always hotly debated in the NBA, and there are a couple good choices on this Tar Heel team. But this year's MVP award, in my opinion, is a no-brainer. The Beamy Award goes to Joel Berry. Before you go crazy out there, Justin Jackson was clearly the best player on this team, but the Tar Heels had no shot at the title this year without Joel Berry. Berry gave the Tar Heels something they're always criticized for not having enough of: toughness. He played through the entire tournament on 2 bad ankles, and when nobody could hit a shot for the Heels in the national championship game, Berry scored 22 points and won Final Four Most Outstanding Player. The resume speaks for itself. Now the moment you've all been waiting for, the Best Moment Award. And how can it not be anything but winning the national championship? This is strictly a formality. The Beamy goes to Luke May's shot to beat Kentucky. What? Why? It's simple, really. With an academic scandal always looming overhead, Roy has had to recruit less coveted players and develop them into reliable contributors. May, one of those recruits, sent Carolina to the Final Four and won the South Regional's Most Outstanding Player Award, beating out 3 future NBA lottery picks. That's a perfect metaphor for Roy's success. That does it for this year's Beamy Awards. Now back to your regularly scheduled Sports Extra programming.
Some interesting picks from you there, Paul. I think I'm going to have to file for a recount on Best Moment. A national championship win is the only acceptable choice.
As much as we'd love to talk about basketball all day long, at some point we need to move on.
So to finish our discussion of the hardwood, we bring you the top 3 plays of the 2016-2017 season. Coming in at number 3 in the first sellout of the year in the Dean Dome, Theo Pinson drops the hammer on his first game back from injury. That UNC win against Florida State began a dominant ACC run to a regular season title.
And at number 2, the Natty champ, big man Kennedy Meeks gets a huge block on Nigel Williams-Goss, and the outlet goes to Jay Jacks as he seals the championship for the Heels.
And finally, the best play of the year, Luke May's game-winning shot against Kentucky will live on as a Carolina legend forever.
Moving on to another successful Carolina squad, the baseball team was in Chestnut Hill this weekend to take on the Boston College Eagles, and Carolina scored more runs than ever in a 3-game series. Carolina kicked off the series with a dominant 17-7 win. The offensive barrage was highlighted by Zach Gahagan's grand slam in the 6th inning. Gahagan's dinger was 1 of 4 by the Tar Heels. Logan Warmoth, Kyle Daughtris, and Brian Miller also homered. And on Sunday, UNC's bats were still hot in Game 2 as the Heels hammered out a season high of 20 hits. Kyle Daughtris and Zach Gahagan both homered in the 16-4 victory. The Tar Heels pounded the Eagles 15-3 in the 3rd game of the series to complete the sweep. Logan Warmoth hit his team-leading 7th home run of the season. Carolina's 48 runs in the 3 games is a school record. The Tar Heels improved to 26-6 on the season.
The softball team took on Notre Dame in a weekend series, including a doubleheader on Saturday, with the Heels hoping for their 5th ACC series win of the season. The Heels started Game 1 with a solo dinger in the 1st inning, but the Irish would immediately respond with a run of their own. And in this pitcher's duel that included strikeouts like that one from Notre Dame's Rachel Naslund and this one from UNC's own Brittany Pickett, the bats went silent until this walk-off single in the bottom of the 9th gave the Irish the extra innings W. Notre Dame wins that one 2-1. Then in Game 2, Notre Dame's Katie Barriant threw a get-this no-hitter. With this walk, UNC's Brittany Pickett was one of just 2 Tar Heels to get on base all game long. Then in the bottom of the 4th, Notre Dame's Maddie McCracken hits the single that brings the runner home. Notre Dame goes on to win that 2-0 as the Heels take their second L of the day. Then finally, on Sunday, Notre Dame comes back from a 6-run deficit late in the game, getting the winning runner on base, but the Heels hold on for a 7-5 victory in the series finale. Senior Kendra Lynch led UNC at the plate, going 3 for 4 with another 2-home run dinger. Carolina avoids the sweep and improves to 10-5 in the ACC. When Sports Extra comes back, we have our first taste of the 2017 football team.
See if anybody has emerged as the favorite in the quarterback battle.
Well, Thomas, you've got prediabetes. But with more exercise and a change in diet, it can be reversed.
I've tried exercising. It just makes me hungry for bacon.
I love bacon, too. And who really likes to exercise?
Not me.
Me neither.
Nobody. So we're good?
What? Oh, you still have prediabetes. Big time.
Every day across America, excess food is gathered by a network of good people at local food banks, giving hope to millions of children who struggle with hunger. They've earned their wings, and you can too. Together, we can solve child hunger. Support Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
Fancy pants peanut butter? A big screen television? You haven't even bought a sofa yet. A motorcycle? When your father finds out, he's gonna flip his shoes with 2 buckles? What do you even need 2 buckles for? Mr. Big Shot, buying whiskey shots for everybody in the bar. From the looks of it, I'd say nobody even remembers. Feed the pig.
The women's lacrosse team is hoping to defend its national championship and travel to Louisville on Saturday. The Cardinals started off hot and snuck a few goals past the Heels early on, building a 7-3 lead. And here comes Maria McCool to the rescue. Number 4 had a career-high 7 goals, 7. Behind her stellar play, the second-ranked Heels went on a 12-4 run to take the match 15-11. Carolina hosts number 1 Syracuse on Saturday, looking for its 10th straight win. The number 1 seed in the conference tournament is on the line.
The men's squad, who are also defending national champions, took on Virginia, trying to get above 500 and keep Carolina's playoff hopes alive. UVA got the first goal, but Carolina quickly came back, breezing past the Cavs on the scoreboard and going into halftime with a 7-goal lead. After the half, Carolina's offense continued to be unstoppable, living up to his jersey number 1. Luke Goldstock was a star with 3 goals and an assist on the day. Final score 15-12 Carolina. That breaks a 2-game losing streak and gives head coach Joe Brescia his 100th win at Carolina.
The UNC football team switched things up for its this year's spring game. Fans and students gathered at Fetzer Field Saturday afternoon, offering a warm and sunny welcome to the 2017 Tar Heel football squad. The 3 men in the race for the starting quarterback position were able to showcase their off-season hard work. Here's redshirt junior Nathan Elliott with that nice TD pass to wide receiver Austin Prohl. But the huge offensive losses after the 2016 season were clear, as the defense was able to effectively stop the run and pressure the receivers. The leadership of veteran defenders like linebacker Andre Smith and safety Donnie Miles led the defense to a win against the offensive team.
We played a lot of ball together, so we're experienced and we're cohesive and we're moving together and we're growing together. But I mean, that's really how a team should be. Defense should be the number 1 force. I mean, scoring is great, don't get me wrong, but if the opposing offense can score points, then I mean, it all plays out.
Though the defense displayed improvement, the QBs are still battling for the coveted 2017 starting position. Nathan Elliott led the pack, completing 8 of 12 for 213 yards and 3 touchdowns. His competitors fell behind, with Logan Bird passing for over 120 yards, and the redshirt freshman Chaz Surratt finished with only 90 yards and no touchdowns. Transfer Brandon Harris is still in the mix.
They've made a lot of progress, but I wouldn't say anybody separated themselves, you know. So we'll get into the summer and get into fall camp, and if somebody separates at that time, then we'll make a decision. If not, then, I know we got to put somebody out there in the first game, so we'll do that.
With Elliott's strong showing in the spring game and Brandon Harris's transfer from LSU, it would seem to be a 2-horse race for the starting job next fall.
The spring game was at Fetzer Field because Kenan Stadium is undergoing major renovations prior to the 2017 season. A new football practice facility will replace Navy Field, requiring the football team to practice at Kenan Stadium. That would mean a lot of wear and tear to the turf at Kenan, so workers are replacing the grass with a synthetic surface. The new practice facility will be significantly bigger, with both synthetic and grass fields. There will be an indoor facility as well, so the Heels are getting a lot more space to prepare for game days.
With the NFL draft now just 17 days away, there's one key question Carolina football fans want answered. Where will Mitchell Trubisky get drafted? He began the draft process ranked incredibly high, even projected to go #1 overall in some mock drafts. But his draft stock has started to fall.
His last start in the Sun Bowl against Stanford was not a very good game. It was a good way to finish his career. He had another year left at North Carolina. I'd like to have seen him stay and play another season and really season his game a lot, because I think he needs a lot of seasoning.
With all the negative momentum, Trubisky could potentially slip into the top of the second round, which would give quarterback-hungry Browns another chance at a hometown hero.
Many of us are familiar with the play of Jeremiah Clark in Kenan Stadium, but there's a whole other side to the master of the DMs that you probably haven't experienced. Our Kat Makumson has the story.
Junior Jeremiah Clark is Carolina's number 49 in defensive tackle. But these days he's trading his passion for the game to something a little different.
And I just always wanted to make my own cartoon, especially when I got older. So I would always just rush home or wake up early on Saturday mornings and watch cartoons and try to draw.
Some of Clark's artwork hangs on his wall, and he has sketchbooks full of his drawings. You can find most of his art on Instagram.
I got this request from this art page. It's Fat Mellow fan art page or whatever.
One of Clark's favorite creations is the Fat Mellow t-shirt.
Everyone that got tickets that came with my dad had Fat Mellow t-shirts with my face on it. And it was just awesome, just to see him out there with just my face. It really made my day.
Clark's talking about the UVA game this past season. He and his dad made the shirts for his family to wear and support him in the stands.
Just to see my face coming out the tunnel, and it's not my actual face, it was just awesome. It just made me smile the whole game.
As weird and funny as he is, he's actually a competitor, a crazy competitor.
Clark says he's looking forward to the season and his opportunities to continue creating mellow art. In Chapel Hill, I'm Kat Makumson reporting.
Look out for Clark September 2nd in Kenan Stadium when Carolina takes on Cal in the season opener. When Sports Extra returns, for some UNC students, the physical education requirements does more harm than good.
We have more details up next.
Look at you. You're at the top of your game. You're unstoppable. Nothing can throw you off track. Wait, is that your car? Uh-oh. Yeah, I saw that coming. That will throw you off track. You're looking at around 10 grand legal fees and increased insurance rates. Let's try this again. Smart move. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Most party fouls are pretty dumb. But if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Underage drinking and driving. The ultimate party foul.
I'm a single mother, and I was the main one working, so I never thought that I could go back to school, you know? sister, my mother, everybody wanted to help me with my kids. I could not have gotten my diploma without my family.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
LFIT is a mandatory class at UNC that's meant to teach all students lifetime fitness skills.
But Emily Wakeman says for some students, the curriculum can trigger unhealthy tendencies.
Embody Carolina is an eating disorder awareness and positivity group at UNC that started an initiative to change the LFIT curriculum, including removing the weight and the MyFitnessPal components. Rosa Hanna is a co-chair of Embody and says these things make students focus on the wrong things.
Health is not solely determined by the numbers on the scale or the calories.
Hannah took LFIT her first semester at UNC. She said the MyFitnessPal assignment was one of the triggers that led to her relapsing into anorexia nervosa, which doctors diagnosed her with in high school.
I wasn't necessarily going out of my way to make it an obsession, but it just kind of fell into that. It like snowballed.
She said this obsession led to her seeking medical attention.
Last spring semester, I ended up in the hospital, and it was really scary. I thought I was going to die, and so that was terrifying.
Becca Battaglini is the director of LFIT. She says the purpose of the curriculum is to teach the basic principles of health and wellness.
We want people to be conscious about what they're eating, that food should be seen as fuel.
But Battaglini says she has made changes to the curriculum since Embody started the initiative. There's now an alternative assignment to the MyFitnessPal lab, and the scales have been moved out of the gym and into the hallway. Ashley Broadwater is a freshman at UNC who is currently a member of Embody and LFIT.
I'm so glad that we don't have scales. I've never had to step on one for my class, which has been really nice.
Hannah says there should be more attention paid to the macronutrients rather than calories to give students a more balanced perspective on health.
Your weight is between you and your doctor, and your health should be between you and your doctor as well, not your LFIT class.
In Chapel Hill, I'm Emily Wakeman reporting.
Embody Carolina has trained more than 650 people since 2013 to be compassionate allies to those struggling with eating disorders.
The men's tennis team started its away weekend in Clemson, South Carolina, where the Heels grabbed the Tigers by their toes. The match was moved indoors due to windy conditions, but that didn't stop the Heels from rolling. 5 Tar Heels won their singles matches in straight sets, including Ronnie Schneider and Robert Kelly, who each dropped just 1 game in their matches. The win improved the 11th-ranked Tar Heels to 6-1 in conference play and 19-2 overall. And on Sunday, the Tar Heels had their work cut out for them at Virginia. They started off strong thanks to William Bloomberg and Robert Kelly, who clinched the all-important doubles point. Bloomberg and Ronnie Schneider kept it going with singles victories on courts 1 and 2, but the Wahoos took courts 3 through 6, earning UVA the 4-3 win. And the women's tennis team took its talents to South Bend on Sunday. Carolina took the doubles point and were unstoppable in singles as well. Haley Carter remains undefeated in dual meets thanks to her 6-0, 6-2 straight sets with on court 1, and the Heels sweep the Irish, improving to 22-2 on the season.
Being in college can definitely be tough sometimes, but our Jenny Chu spoke to some students who are climbing their way out of stress.
For Ezra Ballywang, fencing is a major commitment. But whenever he has the chance, he's climbing away with his newfound love.
It's an interesting experience. It's a lot of fun, but it's also often very frustrating.
UNC offers 2 rock climbing walls, one in Rams and one in Fetzer. Wang says with his demanding schedule of weights, training, and competition, climbing is one of his outlets.
This is something that I have autonomy with. I can choose to climb whenever I want to. If I'm feeling tired one day and I'd rather sleep, I can do that. I can't do that when it comes to fencing practice or competitions.
But don't think rock climbing is just for athletes. Here at Rams, you can also be a part of the Rock Climbing Club, or just do it for fun. And students like Bailey Wong say rock climbing is not only challenging, but also eases your mind.
For me, it's like a really big stress reliever because I just come here and I focus on the wall and improving myself. So in many ways, it's just a good project to work on besides all the stress that's involved in school.
Biology major Emily Tsai is no stranger to climbing. And as a first year, she says school is tough. Rock climbing just puts her back in her element.
There's a good community of people at UNC.
It's a chance to bring students together.
Here you can also just kind of mess around and have fun. It's not always about getting to the top of the route without falling. There's definitely a community aspect and an interpersonal relationship aspect that I value.
Some say the camaraderie climbing brings about is the best aspect of all. In Chapel Hill, Jenny Chu reporting.
Fetzer and Rams rock climbing walls are open Monday through Friday in the evening. And when we return, Ramses Jr. is a senior.
We'll show you the magic behind the mascot.
Hamilton was adopted from a rescue in 2008. He's quite the pug about town. He gets invited to a lot of parties. He knows he's a pretty big deal. How could you not love him?
Places, everybody.
Light check. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Everything looks good on our end.
And lights.
Come alive with the forest. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
Ramses Jr. is graduating.
They grow up so fast. Our Elena Pirtle has the story.
If you love Ramses Jr., and who doesn't, you can thank Catherine Brinkley, who will be the first Ramses Jr. mascot to graduate in May.
My dream to be a mascot started back when I was probably a junior in high school, and I knew wherever I wanted to go to college, I wanted to be the mascot there.
When Brinkley got to college, her mascot dreams didn't go as planned.
I was going to try out my freshman year to be Ramses, but I was way too short, so I kind of gave up my dream of being a mascot until they introduced Ramses Jr.
Ramses Jr., also known as RJ, made his debut in October of 2015. RJ was created to be more kid-friendly and less intimidating than Ramses is, and Brinkley had her own hopes for RJ.
The main thing that I wanted for RJ was for him to be really mischievous and kind of get into trouble. I just thought that he would play tricks on people, and I like to go up behind people like when they're not looking and like make silly faces or take people's food.
Brinkley hasn't been able to tell people that she's RJ, but she says the secret identity is what made her want to be a mascot.
I felt like it would be a cool way to be as outgoing as I wanted to be and not be scared about what people thought about me, because nobody knows who you are like as a mascot.
Brinkley says she's done her best to keep her lips sealed until now. Not so much with her mom.
Whenever I found out I got the position, my mom started crying and I started crying, and I think she told the whole town of Winston-Salem.
Brinkley was revealed as RJ on senior night when the Heels played Duke.
I was crying in suit. It was really, really sad to know that that was my last basketball game. I'm really sad to give it up, but it has given me some great stories and memories to talk about in the future. I feel like I'm making history, so it's pretty neat.
Whoever puts on the RJ suit next has some big shoes to fill. In Chapel Hill, I'm Elena Pirtle reporting.
Here's what Brinkley and the seniors graduating with her have witnessed in the past 12 months. In April of 2016, as we remember all too well, men's basketball was the national runner-up.
In May, both men's and women's lacrosse teams won national championships.
Carolina field hockey ended November as the second best team in the country.
The volleyball team made it to the Sweet 16 in December, and in that same month, men's and women's soccer both made it to the Final Four.
At the Indoor Tennis Championships in February of this year, both Carolina teams finished as national runners-up, and it all accumulated with the men's basketball team finishing the redemption tour last week with UNC's 6th national title.
For all of you counting along at home, that's 3 national titles, 4 runner-up finishes, 2 Final Fours, and a Sweet 16 in just 12 months. Wow, I mean, I can't imagine a better way to go out at the end of my senior year than a championship. But that does it for this edition of Sports Extra.
Thanks for watching and have a great night.